Hey guys, welcome to Bitcoin Day Traders podcast number 1 entitled What is a Bitcoin? Obviously, this is the first of many. You probably have found us either on YouTube, one of our Facebook pages, LinkedIn, some social media, Twitter, or whatever it might be. And there's a lot more of these. You might have even been to some of our webinars that we've already had. If you haven't, make sure to let us know. Our goal for this whole project is to get people interested in what cryptocurrencies are, what Bitcoin is, talk about the entire industry, and make it fun, right? I mean, when's the last time you had a podcast about people talking about economics, economies, fundamentals, financials?
You know, the only podcast or show that comes to mind is like a Dave Ramsey show, but it's full of useful information. But I think our goal is we're going to keep it light, we're going to keep it entertaining, we're going to keep it fun, but also informative. Definitely the financial and economic podcasts out there can be a challenge to...
A little dry.
When you're working out and you're listening to one of those, you're like, what the hell is this? I'm kind of getting sick and tired of this. So we're here to bring a fresh new light on the economy, where it's going, and Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies.
So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the question of the day. Brian, what is a Bitcoin?
What's a Bitcoin? You know, a Bitcoin, I can fully answer that question, and that's always going to be, there's always going to be more answers coming in on what is a Bitcoin, because there's an underlying technology behind it, and it used to be called Bitcoin, but now it's transformed into the blockchain technology. And a lot of people have heard of blockchain technology, but they don't even know what Bitcoin is.
Tell me, man.
Blockchain technology is a hugely innovative tool that everyone can use. Developers, banks, governments, Fortune 500 companies, or small mom and pop shops down the road. Blockchain technology is truly revolutionary. This is Internet 3.0. So the fact that you're here now in the early stages of the next Internet is huge.
That's a big deal. I got to pause there for a second, because what we really want to make sure that we understand is this is like talking about the Internet in the 70s, right? So I'm sitting down there, it's 1969, and we're discussing email. Blockchain is only been around for a few years. Bitcoin is it's brand new, 2009.
You know, a lot of people who are entrepreneurs and start their own company always talk about your burn rate to break even year. That's usually 3 to 4 years. If you're still around as a company in 3 to 4 years, you are now in the crawling stages of your business life. But Bitcoin is under 10 years old. I mean, this is very, very huge. This is like being involved in the internet before Apple came out, or at least when it was behind closed doors. But I mean, people were talking about in Good Morning America, what's an email? What's that at sign mean?
Yeah, that was a great video.
People are asking those exact questions in a different light about what Bitcoin and blockchain technology is. So again, the railroad system that the Bitcoin train runs on and other cryptocurrencies is the blockchain technology. So we're going to be referencing that, but it's two separate things. Bitcoin, blockchain technology.
Yeah, and we will be getting into, and I'm glad you made the distinction. We're going to be getting into, what is a blockchain in more detail for sure. Because again, he's the mind, he's the brains of all this. We need to figure out we need to help teach people right now the concept. What is an actual Bitcoin itself? Like, what is the actual Bitcoin?
Right.
All right, man. So fill me in.
What's a Bitcoin?
You look like Robert De Niro for a second. You looked just like Robert De Niro.
I get excited about this stuff.
Did you know that you look like Robert De Niro, though?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't.
You can nail that impression at parties.
I love it.
Okay.
I'll take it.
So fill me in. What is a Bitcoin?
Well, I have one here in my pocket. I'm kidding.
I was excited. I was like, no way. What?
There is not a physical Bitcoin. People think that you can go online, and I've seen them, and they're like they're more souvenirs than anything else.
Yeah, I was actually about to buy one the other day. I did.
I have 2 of them coming in the mail now,
okay.
just so I can have it and show people.
But it's not a thing. Bitcoin is not a physical thing.
No, it's not.
How do you pay with a non-physical thing?
Exactly. It's all digital, right? So before I get into what money is, look at your bank account. That's all digits, right? You have a dollar sign in front of it, but you have digits. And if you want to go to the bank and withdraw cash, U.S. federal notes, that's great. You can do that. Now, those digits in your computer and your bank account, when you log into your Bank of America or whatever it is, and you see those digits represent what? Paper fiat currency, correct?
Yes. Yeah,
They do.
They do. Yeah.
Okay.
Fiat currency always scares me. Like it's a term that always scares me.
So what does fiat currency represent? Do you know?
Well, fiat currency is when it's backed by nothing, when there's no physical, tangible asset that backs it up.
Our federal note, the U.S. federal note, the U.S. dollar, was backed by gold. That was called the gold standard. So you can go into a bank and exchange your value, your money or your USD for a certain ounces or weight of gold.
So at that time, it was not a fiat currency.
No, that is fiat. Fiat, we're going to have to check all this, what fiat is.
That's fine.
But I'm saying that the fiat currency is a nation-state representation of what they consider money.
Okay.
Right? So that kind of takes us into this money question. What is money?
What is money? What is money? That's a solid question. Are you asking me or are you asking them?
I'm asking everyone. You guys take notes at home. Take notes at home.
What is money? I mean, if we're looking in history, money can be anything. Money, 5,000 years ago was stones.
Seashells,
it would be worthless to us, whatever money was back then. So I would define money as something that you attribute value to in exchange for something else.
Store of value, medium of exchange. Pretty simple.
Right. Okay.
So, you're growing corn back in the old days, and I'm raising chickens, and I need some corn, you some chickens. We barter, we trade.
Why am I a corn farmer?
Okay, well, I don't know why you're not a corn farmer. So, let's say you have 2 acres worth of corn, and I have 3 barns full of chickens. That's very hard to exchange that, and for it to be actually recorded on a ledger. Like, Brian, okay, you're giving 3 barns of chickens to Jeremy. Jeremy's giving you 3 or 4 fields of corn, whatever it may be. So let's break it down easier. We both really see a lot of value in this piece of gold or in this lump of gold over here. I went and let's say you found some gold in your farm, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wow, that's I want a piece of that. There's some value in that because I see other people trading it over here, right?
Right.
And this is what's happening right now in the Bitcoin space. People are becoming aware that there's something of value here because they see other people trading it and other people using it. So there's where that store of value is already coming to the public eye. It's like the spotlight is coming right on it right now. Now we're getting to the medium of exchange. You can give me that lump of gold, and I say, okay, here, you come by and get chickens whenever you want because you gave me this. That's the medium of exchange there. Mm-hmm. It's easy. Because instead of me trying to give you 3 barns of chickens for 3 fields of corn, just give me that gold. It's much more easier. And now it's more liquid, which means I can go out and spend that gold for pigs, or I don't know why I'm on this agricultural hit, but I can use that. There's value there, and I can exchange it. So so that's money. So gold's money. Technically, gold was money. Seashells were money. Whatever a community or a populace views as a valuable. And so now again, you had these computer programmers and cryptographic engineers who created this system, right, where it was peer to peer. Where like in the old days, peer-to-peer.
Yep.
After a while, in the old days, when you have all this gold, you don't want to store it at home.
Right.
You don't want to keep and safely secure your gold at home, because what if you get robbed? What if you have so much gold at home you get robbed? So that's when after the Napoleon and the Bank of England, I can't go down that story right now. I don't know enough about it. I should though. That's when banks got introduced. Third-party banks got introduced, because people could go there and store their money there. Mm-hmm. So that's a third party. You need a third party to hold your money.
Sure.
You follow me now?
Yeah.
Everyone with me?
I'm following you. I'm getting it. Okay, so the thing is, I know credit cards originally were invented in like the 20s, like the diner club. I think it was a diner club where you more or less, if you're going to a restaurant, you have a card, you can use that card, and it kind of keeps and stores how much money you owe later. So it was a
line of credit.
For certain restaurants.
And then banks figured that out.
Visa, MasterCard, American Express. I think it was American Express, but they did it in the 50s. Interesting note, though, credit cards weren't popularly used at all until like the late 80s. So we're talking 30 years approximately for people to understand credit cards. And now that's all we use is cards. I have zero cash on me ever.
sometimes it's good to keep some cash on you.
That's true.
Who knows what type of situations you're getting into? I don't know where you're going. I don't know what you're doing, but you should probably just keep a hundo or something in your pocket just in case.
A Benji. Yep. No, I'm with you, but that's the thing is what trips up most people is that they get upset that Bitcoin's not a physical asset, not a physical
but we're
thing
not
that
using
you can hold in your head.
assets, right?
But we're not even using them now.
So now all you really have to do is just take 30 minutes or take the next 10 minutes with us talking here to understand what Bitcoin is.
Yep.
Because what Bitcoin does, it is money. It's a currency. It's a digital currency.
Yeah.
But, well, before we get into who owns Bitcoin and where Bitcoin originated from and all that, our U.S. government does not own the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is a name that's a private institution, and the Federal Reserve, through the Department of the U.S. Treasury, holds the right to print U.S. money, to put more money into circulation, which means the more money that goes in, the less value. $10 back in 1927 would not be worth what it is today.
No.
So you have inflation. You have these lines of credit. And what does this happen? It rolls into a $20 trillion debt. You know, that's what we're at, nearly $20 trillion in debt.
It's a lot.
As a nation in this world.
It's a lot of money.
It's scary, man.
Yeah.
It's scary shit. And you know what? A bank run, you ever heard of a bank run? People run into a bank.
Yeah.
I don't run, but people go to a bank, and I got $5,000 in my account. That's what it says. It's digitalized. It says it right there.
Yeah.
When you have everyone in one bank go to that bank and try to withdraw all their federal notes, the bank doesn't have all those federal notes on hand in that bank.
It's true.
It's called a bank run. So that means they have to freeze accounts, lock the doors, and no, you can't get your money today.
True story. So I did not know. I knew that was serious, but I didn't know how serious. So let me give you an idea. One person can wipe out all the cash in a bank. My girlfriend used to work at a bank here in Nashville, Tennessee, and she worked there for about 2.5 years. And so one day I asked her, she told me that someone was trying to cash a check for $175,000.
Not a lot of money in my eyes.
No. 175 grand's like, okay, cool. 175 grand, they're trying to cash it. Guess what? They literally had only 56 grand in cash at a huge publicly traded bank here in Nashville. That one particular location, granted. So they gave them a cashier's check for the money.
Where's she supposed to go with the cashier's check? Oh, I'll come back later?
Yeah.
Or go somewhere else? Go to another bank? Dude, it's scary.
Woo! She told me that. I was like, there's no way that's true.
Think about Hurricane Harvey.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go to a bank, and I need to get my cash out because, the grid's down. The electronic, these natural disasters and a terrorist attack, all these things can spark things like in the grid, in the electric grid in a city can go down. And now my credit cards aren't working, and I need to go buy water for my family.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You're going to barter? And then, it kind of, this system has to collapse, or there needs to be an on-bridge onto this new ecosystem that is very fruitful, plentiful, safe. That's the Bitcoin and the blockchain ecosystem that we're talking about here. More people need to get on this on-road and come over here, because if they don't, we're in an economic downturn now, and it's not going to be good in the next, I'm saying, 4 to 6 months. And that can be shocking. And I'm happy to go on the record here and say 4 to 6 months.
But what happens in 4 to 6 months? Like, what are you talking about? 4 to 6 months from now.
The U.S. government can...
There's a debt ceiling coming up in September. So we're talking like this in 20 days.
What happens if we raise inflation? Or what happens if we raise interest rates? Things are not good. You got Hurricane Irma coming in. It can be a spark of anything.
Yeah.
You want to talk about subprime car loans. The mortgage crisis. A credit default swap that took us down in 2008.
Yep.
Is just renamed something else now.
Yeah. Not bespoke. I have to look it up, but you're right. No, it's just a different name.
It's
same
not
same
good,
thing.
man.
Well, you still got to tell me though. That's a big claim. I know we're in trouble. Okay, if we raise interest rates, we've been raising interest rates, and it hasn't been that bad. Here's the issue. Here's what we got to figure out. There is a bubble of some magnitude somewhere out there. And housing prices are continuing to climb. Debt is at an all-time high for the U.S. at $20 trillion. I mean, it's a lot of money. And we're talking, if the stock market also all-time high, right? It's never been higher. NASDAQ literally hit an all-time high a few days ago. And so we're looking at all of the real estate, debt, U.S. market, all-time highs. Bitcoins, all-time highs. So, I mean, if we have any kind of major pullback across all fronts, the dollar is already getting a little bit weaker. It last 2, 3, 4 months, it's been declining in volume, or not volume, I'm sorry, value. So we've gone from, just compared to all the currencies out there, the British pound, the yen, the Canadian dollar, the Aussie dollar, we've been losing value against them for the last 3 or 4 months. Now, granted, we were doing really good about a year ago, but we've been...
You're speaking like a true trader right now.
Yeah, I know.
And you study those trends. And Jeremy, by no means, I'm not an economist. Okay.
I thought you were.
No.
All right, guys. Show's over. He's not an economist.
I'm an enthusiast.
Yes.
About the world economies
sure.
and our economy and where it's going. And if I can protect my assets and my family's assets and my friends and families, why not just share it with everyone else? That's hence why we're on camera.
Yeah.
But you're talking about all these different currencies. We don't even need to get into about George Soros and the Rothschild family and all these conspiracy theories.
Oh, that's coming, right? That's coming.
Well, everyone, I mean, dude, it's crazy.
That's on the board.
Those are some rabbit holes you can go down that are just so bizarre.
Yeah.
So bizarre. And you have to be and same thing and I encourage our listeners and viewers here, be very, very, very...
3 varies, guys.
3. This is a very, very, very important statement. Be very diligent with your resources on studying this, because there's a lot of people, there's a lot of scammers out here, and you can get lost and sidetracked down some road that will lead you into a dead end. So wherever you're sourcing your information from about Bitcoin or blockchain technology, check for credibility, perform your own due diligence, look at our backgrounds. This is our first podcast.
Yeah. Check us out. Just go. Abraham Lincoln once said, "Don't trust everything you see on the internet." Okay? So
I didn't hear that
one. So it's absolutely, you dig in, do research. That's why oftentimes if you hear us talk about going forward, we'll say, if we don't know something, you guys got to help us out. Do research for us. Do research with us. Give us information. Call us out if we're full of shit. Let us know if we just have no idea what we're talking about, and we're cool with that. Because here's the thing: is we're smart. We don't know everything. Teach us. We will teach other people. Let's learn together. Mm-hmm. Grow. Help other people learn this stuff. Because here's one thing that I am very, very sure of is economics and economies of scale when it comes to currencies. Because here is a simple fact. In this economy, if inflation keeps up, and there's only so many cryptocurrencies are out there, and there's only so many Bitcoins available, as people start going towards the Bitcoin and demand increases, if supply stays the same or goes down, but demand goes up, prices will go higher.
So
that's what I know.
Finally, we're coming back to the initial question, what's a Bitcoin? And man, it's taken us a while to get here, but I thought that was a great informative conversation.
Yes.
But Jeremy's absolutely right. Inflation means if our Federal Reserve is pumping out U.S. dollars, again, we're going back to is it backed by anything? No, it's that's when you saw people wheelbarrowing federal notes into a fire during the Great Depression, because that's as good as they were worth.
Yeah,
they were worth the flames that they were burning to give off.
Germany, Zimbabwe, Germany during World War II, Zimbabwe
that's
2 decades ago.
Just look at the trends. How come our government officials can't see the trends? Just look at human trends, economic trends, and let's steer the ship in a better direction, because right now we're not benchmarked on a gold. The U.S. dollar is the number one benchmark for all currencies around the world.
For now.
For now. And there's really no safe harbor on the horizon, except if you're looking at Bitcoin. And that's why I'm an advocate for it. And everyone has this negative connotation. Oh, you buy drugs online with Bitcoin. Oh, you do this with Bitcoin. Hackers use it to scam you and hold your data hostage and blah, 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 blah. instead of focusing, which the mass media is focusing all the negativity towards Bitcoin until recently, if you really dig in and do your own vetting and do your own informational researching, you'll see Bitcoin is like this brand new thing that is like totally change everything we do, man.
Here's what's funny. I did hear an article or saw an article somewhere about the Silk Road and how people were buying drugs and guns and stuff with Bitcoin and how they couldn't be traced. And I laughed a hearty laugh because people buy drugs now with U.S. currency, the prostitution, gambling, guns, terror, whatever. It's like, it's a tool. Money is a tool. And that's what we are. If there's one big takeaway from all of our podcasts, it's going to be money is a tool. You don't need to rely on money to make you a better person, to make you more wealthy. It is a tool. If you want to build a house, you need tools. If you want more money and you're already an asshole, you're going to become more of an asshole if you have more money.
Right.
If you're a generous, philanthropic, nice, charitable person, and you have a little bit of money now, you have a lot of money, you're going to be a more nice, happy, generous, philanthropic, charitable person. It's just the way it works. Money is a tool that exemplifies and amplifies either what you already are or what your intentions want to be.
Exactly. And I don't know how you feel. I don't know how other people feel about WikiLeaks, but and what they were giving out some sensitive information.
Yeah.
About that could have been against national security and blah 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 blah. But man, it's really eye opening as to kind of how the world works behind these closed doors, right?
Yeah.
WikiLeaks could not have published those articles and brought things to light that we now know as Americans and as global citizens if it wasn't for Bitcoin, because Bitcoin was the donation-based currency to WikiLeaks. There's charities.
It was also PayPal. PayPal was involved as well.
PayPal, Overstock.com,
yeah.
Microsoft. Why are all these huge tech companies, Bill Gates, why are they accepting Bitcoin? Why are their companies accepting Bitcoin? Because they see something of value there, and it's a medium of exchange for goods or services. That's why Bitcoin is... I have a debit card, and I can go to the restaurant, I can go to the bar, I can go get an oil change, I can go do all these different things to all these different merchants and pay for these goods and services with my debit card. That's what people don't know. People think you need computers and these minor things and QR codes and blah blah blah. No, you can get a debit card that's linked right to your Bitcoin address.
Right.
And we'll put links in the description below, but maybe we'll talk a little bit more about that.
There's so many things to talk about.
But we were talking about, and I'm the one tangent lining now.
There's so many things.
But we were talking about inflation and how the U.S. dollar is not backed by gold, and it's infinite. The Federal Reserve can print off an infinite amount of money. U.S. dollars, I should say, because it's slowly not becoming money.
Yeah.
They can print off all these federal notes. There's a finite amount of Bitcoin. There's 21 million Bitcoins in the world on the blockchain, right? And think of the blockchain as the railroad system in America, and we're building that railroad system. So I'm trying to analogize this for newcomers looking into this space that are familiar with like the Industrial Revolution of some sort.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna talk more about the blockchain next. That's gonna be. But the thing is, you keep saying Bitcoin, and we all know there's other coins out there. Right. Why is Bitcoin the savior?
Great question. So, I majored in mathematics, so if I might be speaking outside of some realm here that other people don't know, but
you're gonna go right over my head.
Cryptography, right? Cryptography, you know what that is? You encrypt something, and then I give it to you, and you have the code, and you can uncrypt it. Yeah. That's cryptography.
Yeah. Imitation Game, phenomenal movie.
Haven't seen it.
Dude, tonight. See it tonight.
I'll see it tonight if I'm not working.
Great film.
When you combine hash functions, which is this mathematical algorithm, and cryptography, what you're doing is creating this thing called a protocol. And a protocol is very simple in computer language. It's if this does this, then this needs to happen. And if this does this, then this needs to happen. So it's almost like a list, like a checklist. And then by the end of the checklist, that protocol executes on something. All right. So think of that as everything in your computer that you don't see. Those are the microchips. Those are the circuit boards and everything. I don't even know how to hardwire a computer or how to.
Nor do I. Right.
But I still use it.
Yep.
Right. I still use it because I know it works and I have faith. So And I did this from the beginning. When I got involved with Bitcoin, I'd buy like $5 and then I'd move it over here and trade it here. And I was using small little transactions to see how it worked.
Yeah.
I got in there, I put my hands on it, I played with it, and I learned so much more about it, which now I feel comfortable moving larger amounts of assets around.
One of the biggest things you mentioned that I think a lot of our listeners and viewers might not know is, so right now Bitcoin's trading at 4,200, for 4,200
It's been down. Last time I checked today, it was like 43.50.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, I can check right now actually. So anyway, talking about the Bitcoin, what a lot of people are unfamiliar with is it's unbelievable. It's already at 4,400. It was at 42. That's 200 points, ladies and gentlemen, that it just moved.
Jerry's so excited about that because he's a day trader.
200 points. You know how much money could just made off of that?
Listen, I don't trade as much as Jeremy does.
Unbelievable.
But I do realize
200 points.
If we're talking about points and percentages, anything over, I mean, think about, I'm just trying to dumb it down or simplify even real simple here. 100 points in school, 100% in school is an A+.
Yeah.
So anything you get over 100 is like, oh my gosh, this is just gravy, right? Is that the? I'm asking you questions now. Is that the same thing in the trading world?
No, but we'll get to that. That's a great question. But so what I was going to mention though is if you have $7 right now, you can buy pieces of a Bitcoin.
Oh yeah,
right.
So it's all fractionalized.
Right.
Yes.
So that's what a lot of people. That's going to be a big takeaway for a lot of you. So if you have. I'll just do some calculations right now. I know you're a math major. You can do it in your head.
Here, I'll put it this way. 1 Bitcoin is 1.8 zeros. The denominations is just like that. Think of $1 million. You can go buy $1 million, but there's cents and pennies and nickels and dimes and all these different denominations. It's the same thing in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So you can exchange your USD, which is $7, and you're going to get the equivalency. It's going to be 0.0000. You're doing it now. I can't do it.
0.0015674 Bitcoin. So you're going to buy a fraction of a Bitcoin, but that is your $7. Now, if Bitcoin goes from 44.66, where it's at right now, to 10%, so it moves 10%, would be 400 points. Okay, so $400 would be a 10% move.
Okay.
Right. So if it moved 10% right now, you would make 70 cents on your $7.
That's great.
Yeah. Not a lot, but are you making 10% on your $7 in a savings account or anything else?
No, I'm actually losing money because I'm paying fees.
In hours, are you making 10% return in an hour and a half? No, you're not.
Where's your money at? This is putting
$7 or
money to work for you.
So I mean, let's say you're putting 10,000 in a savings account, but you put some in Bitcoin, and it's going up 5% in hours.
And I want to make sure we're really distinguishing between money and Bitcoin and USD. So when I say money, I can mean Bitcoin,
good distinction.
And I can also mean USD. So when Jeremy says putting your money into stock markets over here and all these different, you're not really putting your money into Bitcoin. You're purchasing Bitcoin.
Correct.
And the value of Bitcoin is going up. So it's not an investment.
And right.
It can be.
It can be, but it's a currency. And what's interesting also is the reason I said money or currency is because, folks, if you're listening to this in India, Australia, Canada, guess what? You can take advantage of the exact same thing.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be US dollars. If you have currency, you can buy your currency. You can exchange that currency for Bitcoin, which is a form of currency. And Bitcoin, again, over the trend is going higher previously.
I mean, look at the remittance programs. Remittances are, America has a lot of immigrants. That's what this country was built on. And I'm not trying to be biased, but there's a lot of people here who are working for hard-earned money.
Sure.
I mean, busting their ass.
Sure.
And they're trying to send money back home. So they have USD, and they're trying to send money back to Mexico, back to wherever it is.
Right.
And they're getting charged 12%.
Yeah, easily. 12%
to send that money back home.
Easily. And I mean, remittance, I think, was one of the biggest reasons why Bitcoin was initially used.
Right. So Bitcoin was used because there was a sense of autonomy behind it. Yeah. And that means, think of it this way. You have an email address. I have an email address. You have a password. I have a password. Okay?
Yep.
Google, Gmail, Yahoo, all controls that.
Sure.
This is Bitcoin in a nutshell right here. which this is probably the most important part of this podcast. You want to send me some information. In this case, this is a computer digital allocation of a certain amount of Bitcoin.
Right.
You want to send me some Bitcoin. You want to send me an email. Okay, you have to go inside your email address or your wallet. Wallet is the same thing as a bank account.
Right.
But there's no banks involved here. There's no third parties. So you type up your email. You send it to me. I go into my email. I have to plug in my password. Like, even if you have my email address, you can't see my other emails and what I have in that account, right? So I own my password, which I never want to share. I don't want to store it on my computer, right? That's yours.
Yep.
When you click send and you send me that content, I go in, I do all that. Okay, now I received it. So who's keeping track of that email? Meaning, if my computer died or if your computer died, where's all that data being stored? Do you know?
I have no idea.
It's being stored on whatever web browser or, email client. So if that's Yahoo, Gmail, Google, they have all that information in data centers.
Sure.
And that's a whole big another conspiracy or all this other stuff about monetization of all your own data. The blockchain, and this is why the blockchain is so revolutionary, it secures all that. You hold on to your emails. You hold on to your Bitcoin. You hold on to whatever it is yours. You own it. That's yours. And it's a public and private key. So just like email password, you have a public key, I have a public key. Yep. I can see your public key, you can see mine. And that's just a string of letters and numbers. So that's why everyone thought it was very autonomous and you couldn't, you didn't know who was sending what where, but if you really dig into it, you can easily track where Bitcoin's moving and coming from.
Sure.
As far as IP addresses and everything like that. Don't need to get into the technical aspect. But you have your private key, I have my private key. You have to keep that, write it down on a piece of paper, keep it off your computer, keep it off the internet. And what you're going to do now is, and that's the first step, is downloading a Bitcoin wallet. There's a lot of different options out there. We're probably going to have a full podcast on wallets.
Oh, man.
But think of a wallet as your bank account for your Bitcoin, but you control it. So guess what? If you lose that private key, your password, those Bitcoins are gone.
Wow.
How are you gonna recover them?
Yeah, that's true.
No one's in charge of them. There's the sense of responsibility in this ecosystem is so awesome. So if you lose your private key, hey, how about this? If you're storing your Bitcoin on an exchange, which is where you can go purchase Bitcoin for US dollars, Coinbase, there's a few other, Poloniex. A lot of them are sophisticated, and actually for the day traders that have been going through our webinars and our sessions and our teaching sessions, you're going to know all about this stuff, right? But if you're just getting involved and you want to go purchase Bitcoin, you probably want a nice user-friendly interface. And when you do this, there's a lot of people like Coinbase you hear about.
Yeah, I mean, I use Coinbase.
Did you hear about all the complaints the IRS is getting about Coinbase? People aren't getting their orders filled.
No, I haven't.
Because it's the easiest one to operate on. Like my mom can do it.
Right.
But that line's so backed up.
Yeah,
they're having hard time filling those orders.
Yeah.
So think of, you're at the supermarket and you want to buy some of that meat over there, and the line is so far back. They have a supply of it, but they're moving so slow.
Yeah.
And so all these people need to realize there's other places you can go and obtain Bitcoin. You don't have to go to this one place.
Right.
But you can also open accounts on those exchanges or your wallets. So if you have a wallet on an exchange, you don't want to store your Bitcoin on an exchange because exchanges can get hacked. It's prone to, you get a lot of outside traffic coming into these exchanges. Do not keep your Bitcoin on an exchange.
Interesting. Okay.
So I would suggest getting a wallet such as like CoPay, and we can link these two.
Okay.
CoPay is a good wallet. There's a few others that you just download off the internet. It's pretty simple. They'll walk you through it. You go to this, download this wallet, boom, it's right there. It's on your desktop. That wallet cannot be hacked if you're not plugged into the internet. Okay, so if you're plugged into the internet, you're prone to all types of hack. People can get inside your computers.
Right now, look at that.
That's why you shouldn't watch porn.
Reason number one.
Or just do it safely and securely, or keep it on that computer and keep your Bitcoin on this computer.
Reason number one, right there, guys. That's the reason not to watch it.
But you can also do cold storage wallets, and again, this is a whole nother podcast. But
well, speaking of, what's podcast number 2?
I think I
what's
feel
gonna
like
be the subject?
I feel like this podcast was a very we were jumping all over the place, but I'm pumped to get this started.
Yep.
These podcasts will get better. I'm feeling more comfortable doing it now.
Yeah.
But I think we need a set a topic or two topics that we talk about.
Sure.
And explore them. But I do think all the other things that we kind of sprinkled in here were fun, and again, that's the objective. We're trying to keep this fun and light. So.
Well, I'll say this: make sure to post in the comment section below what you want us to talk about. Yeah. If there's a particular theme, question, topic, wallet, exchange, broker, question, post in the comment section below. You can also message us or email us through YouTube or however else you want to get in contact with us.
I'm going to start a new Twitter handle just for this.
Twitter handle, people who use Twitter. Anyway, reach out to us. Overall, though, at this particular point in time, we'll probably be going with what is a blockchain. We'll be talking about blockchain technology.
Into more blockchain, which also will cover a lot on, eliminating that third party.
Who created it? How this all came to be? History, going forward, banks, Central Reserve.
I was talking about hash function. I was just poking at all this stuff, but there's a lot.
Much more to come.
We're trying to cover a pool that's 3 feet deep instead of a well that's 30 feet deep. Maybe we need to do it that way. So please give us your suggestions. Do we cover one thing and don't talk about anything else? I feel like that's hard to do because there's so many parts that go into this. But up to you guys.
Let us know, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much for tuning in. You guys are absolutely fantastic. Brian, it's been a great day.
Awesome.
Folks, we'll see you later. Podcast number 2. And until then, keep being amazing.